Hello, I made it. Apologies, a few minutes late. Good morning, good afternoon, or good evening, depending on where you're joining me from in the world. Happy Friday. My goodness, it's another quiet week, isn't it? I was not expecting this, even I thought last week was pretty quiet. And I think we've got around a month to go to a Chinese New Year. I did actually look up when that was after last week's stream, because typically I feel like Chinese New Year is the end of January, but this year it's more end of February. So we've got a month to go before hiatus begins. So I am keen to see what Hot Toys gives us in the lead up to Chinese New Year, because I feel like they always like to give us a few big things, and when then they come back, they like to start things off quite big step. We've still got some stuff to talk about. Star Wars will still be in 60 seconds. I will not entertain any conversation that just alternate time period to the Star Wars discussion. It will be 60 seconds. Squid Games might also be in 60 seconds, because have I seen? Of course not. If you're new, welcome. I have not seen a lot of things. Not that I don't want to. It's time. Time is what gets me. But even though it was a slow news week, I'm going to take a second to acknowledge, guys, 4 years ago today, when a small little furry cat, whose name was not Shuri at that point, came into my life. Not on that day, but I met her on that day. Guys, that's a bit sentimental. Facebook, I love how Facebook reminds you of these things. All these memories of little baby Shuri. Maybe she'll join us at some point. That'll be fun. But yeah, 4 years of knowing Shuri. She's my little fur kid, so I kind of like to acknowledge her. And she's the star of this channel. Let's be honest. I don't pretend that that's me. That's definitely Shuri. So, as always, thank you for coming to hang out with me on a Friday. Whether you're watching live or on the replay, appreciate you guys so much. And let's see who's here in the chat to keep me company. Carlos, my hype man, as always, first in the comments. Good morning, good afternoon, good evening to Helen chat. Sending my usual salutations from New Jersey. That may get another possible snowstorm this week. Oh, goodness. I've got 100 degrees in my future. Hot Toys is given another pair of awesome reveals with Squid Games and Star Wars, the Bad Batch TK Stormtrooper collectible figure. Hopefully they'll continue the line with the guards from the Squid Games and other characters for the Bad Batch. Thoughts, Helen? I'll watch the review later when I get out of work, so let's make sure we are hitting the like button. And for those of you who watch from the shadows, subscribe. I mean, I would appreciate it. And I guys, like I did say last week, I was pushing the likes and the stream had a lot of likes. So I appreciate everybody who hit the like button, because it's always interesting to see how many people watch versus how many people like or comment. So if you're here, as I have to say, hit the like button. It's free. If you're watching and you like what you see, maybe subscribe. I would appreciate it. Little Shuri would appreciate it. Squid Games is interesting because I feel like the characters they're calling the guards are they the figures that some third-party companies have made? Because I feel like I have seen those. Whether Hot Toys does more, who knows? I have to say that Squid Games figure was less than a year from announcement to release, which I think is pretty good. We'll talk about the Stormtrooper. We'll talk about the Stormtrooper in 60 seconds, as we always do. The toy collectors here Friday, and happy Friday to you. Rudy16 World, happy Friday, everyone. First time. Well, welcome to you. Commenting. Oh, first time commenting. Okay, so you've seen before. Well, hello. My friend Carlo has hyped you up a ton, says you're the best. Well, if that's my heart man, Carlos, bless his heart. I hope I live up to the hype. But welcome. I always enjoy new people, new comments. So thanks for dropping a comment. I appreciate that. AJ's here. Greeting, Helens and friends. Hope all is well. I'm good, AJ. Hope you are. And I hope Miss Ashley is too. Mrs. Ashley. I have to get used to saying Mrs. Ashley, not Miss Ashley anymore. Bobby's on the money. Expect the invoice to flood in before Chinese New Year. Yeah, 100%. Miss Batwoman is here. Happy Friday, Helen, Shuri, everyone. Happy Friday to you, Batwoman. Paul's here. Hello, everybody. Hello to you, Paul. Ramstein fans here as well. Howdy, Helen and Shuri. Howdy to you. I hope Shuri will join us at some point. Oh, it's a huge day then. Congrats on 4 years for Shuri. I remember meeting my kittens. Oh, I could go off on a tangent about Shuri and Mai's meeting, but that would be probably a half-hour story. And I won't bore you guys with it, but she actually came originally with her sisters because a friend of mine is a foster carer for cats, and she was like, hey, I'm getting these cats. Could you hang on to them for a few days because I'm going away? And I was like, sure, no problem. And she came in this cat carrier, and this friend had been trying to get me to adopt another cat for the longest time. And she walked in with this cat carrier with Shuri's sisters, and she said the famous last words of, don't worry, they're not your type. You're not going to fall in love. And then little Shuri, I like to think me. She was so charming and affectionate. Yeah, and then so I met her, and then about a week later, I adopted her and brought her home forever. So yeah, it's always nice getting those little memories of Shuri on Facebook. 4-year Shuriversary. Oh, that's a great word, Shuriversary. I love it. I love it. Gin Toys made season 2 version of 456 and 001, and a third-party company made the pink shape soldiers. Okay, so I think it's the pink shape soldiers that I have seen. So one day I'll watch Squid Games. I'm not opposed to Squid Games. As I was saying to Bob, like, it's on the list of things I would like to watch, particularly this time of the year when there's so much sport on TV. Like, summer is basketball season, and then we get all the tennis in January, and I'm pretty much just watching sport at the moment. There's not a lot of other watching happening. Winman's here. Good Friday greetings to everyone. Good Friday greetings to you. Batman Collectibles. Oh my God. I hope you don't mind. I want to talk about your J&D joke mishap, and I want to talk about the J&D Silicone thing for a while. So Batman Collectibles, if you're not following him on Instagram, why not? Give our friend a follow. Has had a mishap with this J&D Joker, hence the reference in the title of this stream to Silicone Woes. Yeah, I can totally understand where you're coming from, and it's quite interesting when I started backtracking into the Joker and that sculpt and the skeleton and the development of it. It was, it was interesting. It was interesting. So I hope that's okay. I've got the screenshot from your Instagram account. And as I said, I wanted to talk a bit about this. And I've actually got another participation question this week, which, again, I hope whether you're watching live in the comments that you take part, because I genuinely like to hear other people's points of view. Akira's here. Perfect time to join the stream. Well, we just started. So, yeah, perfect time. I mean, drop a like if you haven't. They're free. Helen. Natalie Harris is here. Good afternoon, Helen from the UK. Hope you're well. I'm good, thanks, Natalie. I hope you are too. Max, let's go for it. It needs to be spread. Yeah, it's funny because some of your comments about the accessories I had not heard previously either. So I think there's a lot to unpack there because, you know, J&D, they're a very proud company, let's say, and they're charging a very premium price for these figures. So the mishaps I kind of just go, I'm not down with, and particularly I feel like J&D also, did they have some region restrictions with direct shipping to the Joker? So I don't even know what kind of recourse you get through them. They're a bit like Inner, and if you've gone for it's a whole chain or whatnot. I don't know. So I think there's a lot to unpack. And to be honest, I was like, this is a nice week to do it where we can kind of deep dive into this, because there's a lot of other figures that are coming out with the Silicone from J&D, and I would hate for this. I hate that this happened to you, and I would hate for it to happen to other people as well. 100, it's great. Like Smash, thank you, Akira. Appreciate that. Accessories, crap, huge disappointment. Yeah, that's not what you want to hear for the price tag for that Joker. That's just not cool at all. So, shall we dive in? Yes, let's dive in. Let's do it. As I say, maybe little Shuri will join us at some point. Maybe not. Who knows? She's a cat. I can't control her. So first off, as always, I want to give a huge shout out to my paid channel members because Lord knows Bobby has gifted a lot of them, but these are my paid ones. So a huge thank you to the Bro Collector, AJ Grusa, Pop Culture Living Room, Kevin Frank, Aaron Broverman, Tijuana Mike, Kelly, Valkyrie Magnus, Miss Batwoman, Bobby Dillon, the Bob Father himself, and Blue Tattoo. Appreciate you. And guys, it's not a stream if I also don't mention William Wang, One Man's Hobby. Don't be buying from him. I actually heard a rumor that worries me that he may be popping up again with a associate. So be wary if suddenly new sites are popping up or people are promoting random sellers you've never heard from. Please, due diligence. If no one's heard of them, if no one's bought from them, be mindful of who you're dropping deposits with, because we see this, right? Like, how many reincarnations did Toys Wonderland have? A lot. It's very easy to set up a website. Some countries have very different rules around domain registration. Like in Australia, at least, you have to have a business number, and typically you need to actually own the name of or have a claim to the name. Whereas William's over in Hong Kong or China at the moment, I don't know what the rules are there, but also if he's using someone else and putting it under their name, we'll see. But as I say, I heard that whisper, and that concerns me. It concerns me greatly. So again, stick with trusted sellers, stick with websites that have been around the block and haven't just popped up randomly, because as I say, this happens too often in collecting, where people take the money and run, and I don't like seeing people getting burnt. So hence this PSA stays up till that website is down. And if I find out there is a new business and what that name is, I will give everyone a warning about that as well, because as I say, I don't want people to get burnt a second time by William Wang / One Man's Hobby / whatever his new enterprise will be called. Kira says, I put down a PO for the J&D 3rd scale Griffin. Hope no Silicone Woes when I get it in 2028. I hope so. I hope so. Austin's here. Hello, Austin. I finally got my Hot Toys Batman Returns figure. I love it. I couldn't wait to let you know. Oh, that's so awesome, Austin. You know what? We're fancy. We're fancy on this stream. So I'm gonna do some applause. And sorry, Winman. Winman, this is not your kettle. This is not your kettle. This is Helen playing applause. But I have no idea when I'm getting mine. So I hope I'm loving it. That's amazing. Anthony Stanfield is here. Hello, Helen chat. Hello to you, Anthony. I hope you're doing well. Right here. Hi, Helen. Good afternoon. Good afternoon to you, Raymond. Akira says, I only lost $20 from William Wang, not the worst. Yeah. And I mean, I feel similar. Like I feel fortunate position that I lost like $100 Australian or something like that, which is not, I mean, it's not nothing, but it's not like other collectors who, I think the most I had heard was $15,000 US. Like there was people buying really like high-end statues, and they were paying off in installments. A lot of stories have come out. So this is where, as I say, I just put the word of warning out, because even last week there were references to One Man's Hobby. There was a post in our collector base, and someone in the comments was like, I gone missing. I was about to drop a PO. I'm like, well, where have you been for 13 months? I've been going on about this last year. This is not new, peeps. Listening to this stream while hunting for Toys Battalion Power Rangers or 3-0. Happy hunting, Raymond. Oh, Helen, I love the callback to the kettle well played. It's funny. Do I remember name acts and things like that? No. Will I remember something someone said in a YouTube stream? Probably. I have a very, very interesting memory. You know, that whole conversation about tea last week. This is a food stream after all. I feel like a little kid being in awe of my Batman Returns figure. I'm so happy. That's awesome. Did you get the standard or the deluxe? I've got the deluxe on order, and I love that diorama base. I can't wait to get it. Oh, the J&D. The J&D. So, Batman Collectible, I saw your post when I woke up this morning and I really felt for you. So, you might be looking at this picture going, Helen, what am I looking at? I'm looking under the eye of the Joker where a big chunk of silicone has come out. That's not good. What was this? These figures were, I feel like the C, because there was A, B, and C. I feel like the C was like around $1,600 US. So to have something like this happen is really not great. And I have to say, as someone who has really taken to the concept of magnetic eyes and would like to see it, this concerns me. But also I do have to say, I have had concern about silicone, but not in this regard. My concern with silicone was more the bodies, would bodies split? I even think of Hot Toys, like if you pose the arms, will it crack at the armpits? Will it crack at the elbows? But having silicone damage on the face was something I did not have on my finger card. So this is very much a concern. So Batman Collectibles, and I've circled it there because I think on Instagram some people didn't understand what the damage was, but it's circled there. And I think once you see it, you can't unsee it. So Batman Collectible says, let's talk. And we absolutely will. If anyone saw my story yesterday, they saw a J&D box. I finally took the plunge and picked up a J&D Joker for a decent price. I was excited. I opened it up and it's as impressive as advertised. Accessories are not impressive, and I have to say that surprised me. Feel very cheap and easily breakable. Actually, the detonator trigger did break, so that was disappointment number one. Now the big disappointment. I was messing with the eyes using the provided magnet pen. One eye moved perfectly. You did not have to get super close to make it work. It went where you wanted, no complaints. The other eye was a nightmare. You had to get super close with the magnet pen to even have a chance of moving it. Here comes the problem. I must have gotten too close to the eye and the strength of the magnet pulled the eye out of the head. While the pen pulled it, was close enough that it pinched some of the silicone between the magnet and the eye and ripped out a chunk. Long story short, be careful with the magnet eyes. Also, anybody wanting a J&D suit and body for custom, hit me up. So, guys, if nothing else, we matchmake Batman Collectibles with someone who wants a J&D suit and body for custom. Batman Collectibles Instagram. If someone wants to help the guy out, someone wants the body or the suit, let's make a deal. This concerns me, and I have to say, I've really liked the idea of the magnetic eyes, particularly for figures with rooted hair. Obviously, Hot Toys and In Art, they're not using silicone because all the videos I've seen of Snape is people with the pan magnet, just the eyes. It all looks very seamless, and that's what I would like Hot Toys to get to. J&D, of course, as we know, they've been the big push to silicone, hyper real silicone. That's the way to go. So it's quite interesting because I'm really shocked that this had happened. The accessories feeling cheap is a whole other thing that I just think is not acceptable for the price point that J&D is selling at. So that is just the icing on top of what is a SHIT cake of what's happened to Skull. So I did recall that J&D talked about these silicone figures were going to have these metal skeletons. So I did a little bit of a deep dive so we can sort of look at where this started, where it ended, and how we got to this situation. Because I think unless J&D changes some things up, this would make me very nervous and hesitant to buy one of their figures. So J&D, in one of their J&D news videos, they showed this skeleton. So, of course, this is what's underneath silicone. It sounds like, based on the Instagram post they then did, which I'll read, some people had concern about this. I don't know why. I just would ask you to note, this is like a full head, and you can see around the eyes, we've got eye sockets, we've got a lot of structure for the silicone to then be applied to. So I want you guys to remember that, because I was very lucky I was able to have a chat with Bob before this stream, because Bob knows much more about these silicone figures than I do. And Bob was able to share some really interesting insights, which will then lead to our audience participation question. We're going somewhere with this. So they showed us this. The Joker silicone will be a skeleton. This is what that skeleton looks like. This is a horrible screenshot, so I'm not going to leave this up on the screen. Let's just show this is an authentic J&D statement. They posted this on their Instagram 28 weeks ago. So what did it say? I haven't gone that this is J&D, blah, blah, blah. So they said, in December 2023, when we shared a Kojun Works brand video introduction where we explained that future Kojun Works products would feature 1/6 scale silicone heads, internal skeletons, and concealed articulated neck joints. This content was intended to showcase the general characteristics of the Kojun Works product line. The skeleton head shown in the video, which is this. So the skeleton head shown in the video was a test sample used to explain the brand features. Its purpose was to intuitively demonstrate via the video that an internal skeleton is necessary for Kojun Works concealed articulation features to function. However, the skeleton form shown in the video, which includes fully sculpted eyeballs and more, makes it impossible to implement magnetic eyeballs, rolling system, rooted hair, or realistic dental expression. Okay. As mentioned, the skeleton was designed to serve as a gimmick. That's a horrible word for Kojun Works' unique concealed articulation. In practice, we have improved and refined the skeleton system to allow for features such as eyeball movement, rooted hair, and detailed teeth expression in the Kojun Joker. Furthermore, we have optimized many other aspects, such as replacing traditional plastic joints with metal joints. Going forward, each Kojun Works figure will feature different internal structures, and we at J&D will always choose the optimal method to best express each character as a figure. We sincerely thank you all for those who've waited for the release of Kojun Works Joker and have enjoyed the product. We kindly ask you enjoy this figure for what it is, truly is as a figure. So they say here, right, they've had to make changes to the skull they originally showed us to get things like the magnetic eyes and all that happening. So what accompanied that post was this image. So we can see with time how that skull under the silicone has really reduced in size. That first test version, you can see there's a lot of structure. We saw that around the eyes. There was a lot there. And then when you get to what was finally produced, and this is where Bob, appreciate your insight. So this is from Bob, because as I say, Bob is much more well-versed in this and a lot smarter person than I am. He talks about the fact that you can see the regression of the skull from the skin surface, which, as I say, you can really see. And that plays a part in why something like the eyelid being able to be broken off from the sculpt can happen. And this is interesting because when you order one of these J&D figures, you're not necessarily going to know what is the underlying structure of the skeleton underneath and if this is likely to happen again. So it's interesting. So Bob had also given me a little bit of history, which I thought interesting to talk about. So he mentioned that Kojun had previously done a Vincent Hanna figure, Al Pacino. This skeleton was based on that figure. So he said that figure was like fantastic figure. They should have just replicated what they did then, which I think was more this test one. But as I say, over time, because they've tried to incorporate magnetic eyes and the rooted hair and whatnot, we can see how much that structure has shrunk down. So Bob also made the point of saying the way this sculpt has shrunk down means that then a lot of the detail in that sculpt was then lost with time because you don't have those sharp edges and surfaces for the silicone to sit under. So he says while that Vincent figure they did in 2014 was perfect, this one as I say, has lost a bit of detail because he said silicone needs an underlying rigidity to keep all the contours of the face. Otherwise, it looks like a rubber mask. And I can totally see where Bob's coming from, because the thicker the silicone, as he said, like, there's nothing there to kind of hold it. Whereas if you look at test 1, there is a lot more structure to it. So it's quite interesting, because we were talking about seamless silicone and whatnot. Because as I said, I've been a little bit nervous about silicone. I know some people like it for the idea of the realism and the joints and things like that. But I think we have to ask, like, is the risk of damage worth the reward of a little bit of extra realism? Because Bob and I, we often talk about head sculpts and rooted hair and all that stuff. And I'll call myself old school, traditional maybe. I still like sculpted hair. I'm still down with just plastic sculpts. And it was quite interesting because Bob did say on the whole silicone versus plastic thing, it seems like rigid 3D printed resin is still the best way to downscale a human face without losing much in the process. This, I'll show you. Check this sculpt out. This is a prime example of newer 3D printers, 8K and even 16K. The strands are so fine it almost looks like rooted hair. You can capture this with injection molded plastic or silicone. So it's quite interesting, and I think there's many facets to this. So one is J&D obviously needs to look at these internal structures and try to ensure this doesn't happen in the future. Because I do like the idea of the magnetic eyes. I feel like I'd have a lot more trust in art and their sort of call them plastic sculpts where this is not going to happen. But I will say, you know, I know some people love silicone. Like, this is insane. Like, we can still get amazing sculpts without them having to be silicone. So this kind of just makes me feel like I want to stay in the safe camp of I'll still sit on the fence about silicone. But I'll be interested to hear what you think. Because as I said, when Bob was talking about that Vincent figure from 2014, he was saying, amazing figure, really pretty much perfect, not sure why they changed the design. So I am keen to know what people think about this, because my question to you is silicone really the way of the future? Is the risk worth the reward? And this is where I'm really keen to hear from you guys, because I know for me, I was looking at that Two-Face and thinking that looked amazing. Now, knowing that something like this could happen to the sculpt, like that makes me nervous, because the price tag is big. And let's be honest, it's not like anybody is buying these J&D figures to part out. So if something happens to the head sculpt, you're like our friend Batman Collectibles, where you're just trying to then sell it off. So it's not a great situation to be in. I have rambled for a very, very long time. Let me see what's happening in the comments, because my goodness, there is a lot of comments. Oh, Mike's here. Hey, everyone. I hope I didn't miss any Star Wars news. The Star window only open for a limited time. No, Star Wars window has not opened. What happened with Joker's eye? Big chunk got ripped out because silicone without much of a structure underneath it. So, yeah. So I'm looking at the silicone woes, as I call it. Valkyrie Magnus is here. Good morning, Helen. Good morning to you. Raymond says, good warning for me as I have the JD Two-Face on order. 100%. Be careful with that magnet pen and how close you put that to the sculpt, because, yeah, this is an issue. I have this type. You are paying for the head. The magnetic eyes is the pain. In art is better. The dogs are nice. See, this is the thing, because I don't have any figures with magnetic eyes. I am watching distance. Is the in-art system better because of the magnetic system, or is it better because the material of the sculpt means this is not going to happen? Or is it both? It could well be both. Who knows? says, don't forget about the silicone articulated hands with type C. That's all, unfortunately. Yeah, and I mean, that's the thing, Bob. Like, if we were going to talk about silicone issues, that's again where I was expecting. I was posing the hands, and in between the fingers, the silicone split. Like, that was the kind of stuff I was thinking we were going to hear about. I wasn't thinking I've ripped a chunk out of the eyelid. Moose is talking about a BVS back computer. Congrats to you on getting that. Also in question, SJC says, would you get any future Kojun releases, Bob? Bob says, I PO'd the Harvey Dent 2-pack Catwoman Potter because I'm mentally ill. Oh, Bobby. You're not mentally ill, Bobby. You're on a quest for realism and accuracy. So we love that about you. Pursuit of perfection. So what exactly are they saying beyond it wasn't what was advertised? Well, I mean, I kind of feel like what they're saying is you're going to buy this and they're going to say there's a metal skeleton, but you don't know what that actually looks like or what that means. So you're buying this head sculpt not knowing. And I'm guessing if the figure's got rooted hair, which I think most of them will have, magnetic eyes, which again I think most of them have, we have to expect that this image on the right, the final, is probably what we're going to get for a lot of their head sculpts. And that concerns me. That does concern me because I worry this is going to become an ongoing issue. So many comments. Bobby says, I think the silicone the body is great. 2.0 TVA, Wolverine, Red Hulk, She-Hulk, but keep the heads in rigid materials for the best likeness and rooted hair. Bobby loves the rooted hair. I have to feel that way. Like, I think if something like Test 1, which had more of a structure, doesn't allow them to do the magnetic eyes and the rooted hair, then I tend to agree. And I think it's hard because I know for me, I like the idea of the magnetic eyes with rooted hair, so you're not having to handle the rooted hair too much. But then if this is the risk when it's a silicone sculpt, yeah, I don't agree. Austin says, I'm with you, Helen. I'll stay in my lane of liking and admiring old school sculpted head sculpts. Yeah, I kind of feel that way, I'll be honest. And says, JD Two-Face will be my first silicone figure. This is a good word of warning to be super careful. And this is what gets me because, I mean, I don't know if Fan Collectibles is still in the chat, but I'd be keen to know, with the figure, or Bobby's here, Bobby, with the figure, did you get much instruction or guidance on the magnetic eye feature? Like, did they have any warnings about, like, distance to keep from the sculpt or anything? Because sometimes, you know, I mean, I know not everybody reads instructions. I read instructions because that's how I roll. I would be interested to know if there was any guidance they provided that said keep it at a certain distance or be mindful of not touching the silicone. Thank you, Bob. No warnings that I remember. So what do we need to do when it's a new technology and they don't give us some guidance as to how best to use the product? It's a sad state. For now, the system works better because both move at the same time. A&D has to be one at a time. The magnet is really strong. The eyes do pop out sometimes. Oh, okay. I didn't realize that the J&D eyes you move. Actually, no. I should have realized that because I feel like the Hideout kind of was moving them separately in his Two-Face videos. Interesting, because as I say, like I feel like most days this week I've seen people with their in-art Snape and they're moving the little magnetic pen. Their system looks amazing. But as I say, you've got the safety of knowing you're not going to rip out a chunk of the sculpt, right? Okay, that's interesting. The Pro Collector is here. My foundation member. Hello. Nice to finally catch a live stream again. Missed everyone. We missed you. How have you been? Merry Christmas. Happy New Year. All have been well. So I guess there is an argument for this called, what was it called again? Instruction. I mean, as I said, I read the instructions. You guys know when I do an unboxing, I still, as boring as for you guys, I still want to peruse the instructions. But I do feel like, you know, the way figures are evolving, rooted hair, magnetic eyes, all that stuff, I feel like as a company, it takes very little effort to do a social media post, a video, something which explains or gives warning people who are either buying this product or a future product, hey, when you get this, this is the stuff you need to be mindful of. These are the do's, the don'ts. Because as I said, I do. So I'll come back to the question. If you're watching live or replay, how are we feeling? Because I think there's been a lot of people who've been very excited by Silicone, the realism. We can have a seamless posable neck. We can have the posable fingers. Like at this point in time, is Silicone really the way of the future? Is the risk worth the reward? And this is the thing. Like, as I say, I don't have the Silicone figures, but when Bob was talking about the fact that that reduction in skeleton does impact the likeness and how sharp a sword can be, I think it's something that's worth discussing because, you know, J&D is doing all these figures in Silicone. They're a very price point. And then the supplementary thing to J&D in particular is the commentary about the accessories being of high quality. So I would be interested to know whether you bought a J&D figure or not. Like, how are you feeling about the Silicone? What are the thoughts? Because I know for me, I do really like the aesthetics of a figure like Bane. I like the aesthetics of some of the female figures have, like Shuri and Valkyrie having those seamless arms. But I have always been a little bit too worried about trying to pose them because I worry about them cracking. And I feel like, you know, there's been a lot of talk that some of the newer figures like Bane probably have higher grade Silicone. That might be less of a problem. But the concern is still there for me anyway. So this is where, as I said, I'd like to know what people are thinking about Silicone. Is that something you want to see more of? You're like, actually, no, I'm happy to stay with, as I say, the more traditional plastic head sculpts. As I say, is the risk worth the reward? Because I don't think anybody wants to be in a situation like Batman Collectibles where you spend a lot of money on a figure and then you've taken a chunk out of the head sculpt. Right. Austin says, got the Batman Returns Deluxe. Now I can stand my civilian Michael Keaton figure next to his old ego himself. That's very cool. I'm taking you didn't read the instructions. There was a pretty big envelope. But I hate to admit I didn't read anything. I did watch a few reviews to see how it's done. Okay. Yeah, I didn't get it. And I mean, I don't know if I really watched many reviews on that Joker, but yeah, okay. I don't know. So I've seen with some companies, they do the hair maintenance, the whatnot. I feel like having something really out there about the eyes, I feel like as a business is even just an insurance policy. So you can say, we made it really clear what the do's and don'ts were. So that's a bummer. That's a bummer. SJC says, if J&D does a 6 Bane, instant buy, no hesitation. You're braver than me. Raymond says, J&D is the first for me with Silicone, as it's one of my favorite characters. I want the premium feel, but I do feel it's a risk with the longevity. That's always been my concern with Silicone. It's always been my concern. If InArt announce a Dark Knight Two-Face tomorrow, I might just cancel the J&D in favor of InArt and plastic. I mean, as I've said, the InArt eye system looks good. They've been doing very well with their hair. I'd be interested to see what they could do with a Two-Face. It would be interesting to see, like, they've done some really nice tailoring. Just hope if they do a Two-Face, I don't have to put the tie on him. I don't want any assembly required with the Too Faced. So my XO6 Dawn left clenched fist separated at the seam. XO6 refuses to replace, blaming tariff costs with getting one. They said to just glue it. I say I bought a complete figure, not a model. Oh, that's not fun. I feel like some old Hot Toys figures like the Too Faced 1.0 had that kind of thumb with the seam on it. I feel like you see that as much now, but yeah, and it's a hand. I would have thought a hand that's not costing a bunch of money, surely. No way I'll pass on Silicone. Too much of it isn't good. I'll keep the old school since I'm a customer of Hot Toys since 2008. That's fair enough. King Dingling's here. Hello. How do those silicone bodies feel? Personally, I have a texture thing, and if a figure feels weird, I'm not going to buy it. It's funny, King Dingling. I know what you mean. I bought a seamless body thinking I was going to use it for my Nurse Joker. And I did feel like it had a texture to it. So, I would handle it a lot, but yeah, I kind of know what you mean, and I feel like some of those silicone bodies do have that kind of texture to it. Anthony, it depends how you treat the figure as well. Some throw it around like it's a $10 doll. Others wear white gloves and handle it like a museum piece. Yeah, that's true. That's true. Oh, Bobby, what did you do? He's the nicest guy in collecting. I always say Santa Claus delivers once a year. Bobby delivers 365. Bob Dylan, thank you very much, has gifted 26-hour Shiro membership. So congratulations to people who got a membership or got a membership extended. What can you say about Bob? He's legitimate nice collecting. I will fight anyone who tries to say otherwise. Bob, like seriously, you're bankrolling my channel. That's very sweet. I'm going to try to find my next. Oh, here we go. Bob Dylan, the truest gentleman. It's true. It's true. It's a fact. It's a fact. I'm not going to pretend that this is easy, but J&D is on the right track with this magnetic approach to the eyes, but it just needs to be refined to allow smooth movement of the eyes within the head without ripping them out of the head. Yeah, I mean, and maybe it's just a refinement of the magnets, but it's interesting. Some people have said the magnets are too strong, but then Batman Collectibles, the issue is that one magnet wasn't strong enough. So he had to get that close to adjust it. So yeah, maybe it is with time. Austin says, what I'm really surprised about is out of 25 years of Hot Toys existing that nobody created articulated fingers yet instead of changing out hands for certain personality reasons. Well, I mean, J&D's done the articulated fingers. It's interesting because I think some people prefer articulated fingers. I think because some people would think about wrist pegs and wrist pegs being broken. But as I say, I kind of feel like when I looked at J&D figures, I was like, if you change one of those hands, what do you do? Because you don't have a whole array of hands. And at least with the swap out hands, you would typically have, I'm thinking in most cases, 3 or 4 like different hands for left and right side. Also, I feel like I could go and buy some World Box hands from 1/6 kit, and more often than not, I could use them and they'd be a pretty decent substitute. Or I could go to somewhere like Toy Anxiety and buy some hands loose. Whereas again, like with these J&D ones, like who's parting out J&D figures and selling those parts? I have no idea. I've not seen anyone do that as yet. Has to be one piece. Why must I bear the burden of shoddy QC, Helen? I agree. I agree with you. As I said in my stream, I feel like that design reminds me of the Too Faced 1.0 because that thumb had a very obvious seam, and I do think that was an issue that people had. Kind of I don't understand. As I say, hands I would have thought would be one of the cheapest parts of the figure to produce. So the fact that they're not offering replacement is not cool. I would be annoyed too. Woodman says, I changed my name so I can get one of those sweet channel memberships. Oh, you missed out. I'm so sorry. I have no idea what it is based on, but I do find it interesting because a lot of the times I see the names and I'm like, who are these people? Like, genuinely, some of these people, I'm like, I have never seen them comment live or on the replay. These names are a mystery to me. So I do find it so interesting that a lot of people watch and don't interact. I don't really know why. Like, if you're out there, say hello, drop a like, it's free, subscribe. I'm sorry, maybe next time. SJC says, sorry to say collectors are not responsible enough for articulated hands. Well, as I say, a lot of collectors don't want to read the instructions, which I think is a problem in and of itself. I know whenever I get something, I do take a couple minutes to look at the instructions to see if there's any don'ts. Because even sometimes with Hot Toys, they'll say to you, like with certain figures, whether it's the arm or the legs, like don't articulate it more than a certain amount. And I want my figures to last. So, yeah, I take that moment, but not a lot of people do. And that's where I think you see like Hot Toys made change ankle pegs. And then a lot of people like breaking the ankle pegs. So I'm like, we definitely need to be responsible and adjust. But as I say, I don't think anybody's thinking they're ripping out a chunk of a sculpt. I really don't. Austin asks if I prefer swap out hands or articulated fingers. I'm happy with swap out hands. I'm happy to have swap out hands, to be honest with you. I'm parting my second J&D head. The laughing sculpt is not good. The laughing sculpt is not good. I wouldn't want that thing in my house. I hope you can find someone to buy it. I was quoted a tariff charge of $80 for a replacement hand. Oh, come on. $80 US. I thought the inner wanting, was it 75 pounds for a replacement Legolas body was crazy, but $80 US for a tariff charge for a replacement hand. Because is Exo 6 American? Are they based in America? Because then if these tariff situations, which, let's be honest, has been ongoing for a year, is a thing, then why are you factoring in getting some of those parts with your stock? Hello, are you going to say hi? Just there. I don't know if you guys can see her. It's our anniversary Shuri. It's our Shuriversary Shuri. Did you know that? She's indifferent, bless her heart. My only concern with articulated hands is how they'll hold up over time. Maybe they're not articulated daily, they will loosen up and not hold any accessory or the silicone crack over time. Well, this is the thing. Like, my concern with silicone has been the cracking. I have not factored in tearing off chunks like this in my bingo card. Did not have that on my bingo card. So this is new. Hot Toys Iron Man figures come with articulated hands, but they're not great for holding any accessories, which is why fixed hands are perfect. Well, I mean, Iron Man is also like, it's not quite the same as like silicone with knuckles and not. I feel like they're still connected pieces, if that makes sense. Like there's joints and you can get more movement in them, but I don't know that it's the same as the J&D Joker hands. I have no problem with an articulated hand on an Iron Man figure. I'm not worried that's going to break over time. But yeah, the silicone, different story. $80 for any part of a figure is BS. Yeah, I mean, and that's not even the part. That's the tariff impact. That's the tariff charge. Moose says, I was quoted a tariff charge. So was it just the tariff or trying to charge you for the part and shipping as well? Like, how much is an Exo 6 hand? What are we talking? I feel like Toy Anxiety does part out Exo 6 hands, which I know is not a sort like that shouldn't be an option, but maybe it's a plan B because it doesn't sound like these guys are coming to the party, which is not cool. Rib is here. Hello, Helen. Hello to you. Happy Friday. Hope you're doing well. Often said, how long do our Hot Toys figures last without ever having any issues? This is something I thought about. I'm thinking maybe 20 years more. Well, I mean, I think it depends on the figure. Like, I had the Bane 1.0 and the Winter Soldier 1.0. Those outfits flaked. How old would they be? Maybe 10 years. I think dude in a suit type figures, you're pretty much going to have good longevity with those. Something like an Iron Man figure, I think would be pretty good. Some of those older Batman figures, I mean, they look okay, but I know my DX9, as much as I love it, that can't really hold a place if I bend an elbow or whatnot. So I think it depends on the figure. You know, I think any of them going to last forever and ever? Probably not. But I still think, you know, we can take steps to maximize how long they last. But some of those things like pleather, I think, are out of our control because I'm not in a humid climate. So to have things like Bane's coat sort of crack at the back, was annoyed by that. I was very annoyed. Either way, it's still BS, totally cost prohibitive. It is. I mean, I know F6 is predominantly Star Trek, so I don't have any of their figures because it's you know not my jam. But that's crazy. $80 tariff charge for a hand. Come on now. This is what gets me. Like, I feel like little customer service things like that can make such a difference to how you perceive a business. So this is why the whole, $80 tariff charge, £75, excuse me, for a replacement body. Like, that stuff to me is just wild. It's absolutely wild. Figure it out is here. Hey, everybody, hello to you. Happy Friday. Hope you're doing well. I'm just going to take a moment to have a drink because I've been talking for a while. Mike says, longevity, I think, depends on environment and handling, which we control. Then there's something we can't, which is QC. In the end, it depends on how tightly you cross your fingers. Well, I mean, yeah. But also, skeleton development. Who would have thought we're talking about skeleton development in figures? It's wild. This is why I laugh, because once in one stream, I didn't ask me anything, and someone was like, oh, do you talk about collecting, like, with your friends? And I'm like, how am I discussing this with them? Oh, there was a vigorous debate about the metal skull of a figure and the silicone. People are going to think I'm mad. I am mad, but anyway. I see Bob is at it again. He is the nicest guy in collecting figure out reviews. He was gifting up a storm, as he typically does. Bobby is way too kind to me. I really do appreciate Bobby Dillon, nicest guy in collecting. So I think we can probably round out the Silicone Woes for Andy, but my peeps who are watching in the replay, because I know there's a few of you, people who never comment, answer the question, humour me, or my channel members who never comment, do me a solid. Drop a like, but then answer the question, please. Is silicone really the way of the future? Is the risk worth the reward? I'd love to know what you guys think. Ace McLeod says, I'm an Iron Man collector. The joints do get loose over time. However, there is Kiki's loose joints, which you can use to tighten up the joints. I think people also used clear nail varnish sometimes, because does that not, or am I making that? I feel particularly with weak ankles, I've heard people say bit of clear nail polish, and that solves the problem. Historian artwork channel member. Oh my goodness, I got one out of the show. Apologies for not commenting. I usually get to watch the recording and I watch on a giant screen with no keyboard. Wow, I thought this was mobile phone viewing. When people say they watch me on a big screen, I'm like, oh god. And now I'm in 1080p, which was that a good decision? I don't know, but thank you for dropping a comment, historian artwork. You know what? We're fancy now on this stream, so you know what? I'm going to give you an applause. And again, Winman, if you're out there, this is not your Ked's applause. Thank you for dropping a comment. I appreciate it. Val says, so far Silicone has worked for me, but we'll see if it lasts. Yeah, I mean, that's the question. Oh my God, you're on a roll, historian artwork. Silicone is the latest flavor. When the industry gets something better, they will move on. I mean, that's an interesting thought. What would be the next thing from Silicone? Or will it be like a magnetic bases where they go, excuse me, you know what? Let's go back to a stand and a crotch grab. It will be interesting to see. Do they keep it up and keep persisting with the Silicone, or at some point do they roll it back and go, you know what? We're actually going to go back to plastic. Moose is going to send me a photo of the hand. Fair enough. I will have a look at it when the stream is finished. Now it sounds like Brian's flying. What's going on? Windmount, I think you're just trying to incite more story time with Helen food tangent conversations. And I'm not mad about it. It was a slow news week. I think bacon is delicious, but like a kettle and bacon frying, I think are two very different things. I don't know what happens in the US where they sound similar, but I'm concerned. Lol, Helen in HD on a giant TV. You can see every hair in Shuri's tail. Shuri's magnificent raccoon tail. I keep hoping she'd walk across. Like last week, she walked across. It was so fun. I do like it when she comes and pays me a visit. We'll see how she feels. Maybe she'll come back. She was here for a little bit, but then she left because she's a girl on the go, young Shuri. God, Stormtrooper. Guys. Star Wars in 60 seconds. Doesn't matter if it's a big news week or not. On this stream, we do the Star Wars in 60 seconds. And before we do the Star Wars in 60 seconds, Helen has to channel the power of Tech BB-8. We've got to prepare. We've got to get ready. We've got to put a minute on the clock. My phone, where the ring light is always inconveniently positioned, so you can't really see it, but there's a minute by timer. Going to take 1 second, and then we'll do the Star Wars in 60 seconds. What a treat for everyone. Last week I was thirsty. Now I'm hungry. If that settles the mystery, carry on. Oh, maybe. Maybe. Focus. I know I need the Force, right? Lol. I know Star Wars stuff. Like I said, I've been collecting hot toys since 2008 and all mine are in fantastic condition. I'm surprised. Well, I mean, if fantastic condition, that's great. I'll be back after 60 seconds. Hot Toys Collector, are you not into the Star Wars? Or are you not into my commentary of Star Wars? That's an interesting question. I hadn't pondered that. Star Wars in 60 seconds. We'll see you on the flip side, Hot Toys Collector, and then you can answer my question. 60 seconds is on the timer. Here we go. All Stormtroopers look alike, but you might be wondering, TK Stormtrooper, what is this about? And I'm so glad you asked, and I'm so glad you asked me because I am everybody's favorite Star Wars commentator. And I want you to know there's a reason why this guy is called TK Stormtrooper. This guy is actually a shopaholic who has a passion for fashion, and his favorite retail store is TK Maxx, known as TJ Maxx in the US, fun fact. So this guy, when stuff's going down on the Death Star or whatever, he's like, excuse me, I need to wear my special battling poncho. So I'm so glad Hot Toys is including this. Let's embrace this unique trooper and his passion for fashion. I'm here for it. You do you, friend. It's 2026. And having a passion for fashion isn't just about clothing. It's also about having some funky eyewear. So I'm glad Hot Toys is representing TK Stormtrooper, the most fashionable trooper there is. Thank you very much. In 60 seconds, what a treat. I watch video and replay my TV as well. No way to comment unless you pair your phone to the TV. Kind of a pain. I'll work harder on class participation. I mean, if you're driving from the TV, all is forgiven. I guess when I'm soloed, I'm like, oh God, if I'm on someone's big screen TV, I'm like, no, oh, Austin's not a fan of the Star Wars. I feel like I can be a safe space for all the indifferent people to Star Wars. On the topic, if figures last, this year I bought Hot Toys T800 with the MMS02 T800 with the fugly face. It has zero flaking anywhere. Okay. Was that real leather jacket? I remember. Raymond said, I've never ordered any Stormtroopers or clones and won't get this either, but I do like the look of this one more than the Stormtrooper clones. The poncho is a nice touch, and I love the sleek helmet. Well, don't forget the fancy goggles. Well, faced at TK is the transition from clone to Imperial Stormtrooper if you watch The Bad Batch. No, I don't watch The Bad Batch. I don't watch Star Wars. Okay, so I'm going to ask the question we all want to know. There's a TK Maxx in Australia. I think there is. I'm pretty sure there is, because we have it as TK Maxx here as well. I mean, so I think it's called TK Maxx in Australia and UK. It is. Oh, we even have one in Perth. What a treat. You in Perth. There you go. Totally a thing. Winman says, not going to lie, I have zero troopers, but that cloak out looks sweet. I mean, it's fashionable. Hot Toys Collectors says, I don't collect troopers, but I have Grogu size. That thing is amazing. Do you have the one with the satchel or without the satchel? And do you wear your Grogu with the satchel? This is the things we need to know as a community. I always drop you a like that. I do. Thank you, Historian Artwork. I appreciate you. I don't think Hot Toys was doing leather in 2006. I'm not sure either. Cannot say. Austin's all about the Marvel and DC. Fair enough. That's sort of where things lie for me as well. Ace McClure says, I don't collect Star Wars other than Vader and Anakin and Luke. None of the characters are really interesting to me. I mean, between Vader and Anakin, that's like a new year every other month, right? That's a big collection of itself. No worries. I only watch your stream on my 70-inch 4K or 170 centimeters. Fun fact, 170 centimeters is taller than I am, so that is disconcerting. We have TK Maxx in the UK, Helen. I watch on my 32-inch TV and comment on my desktop computer. I want to see Shuri's fluffy tail on the big screen. She's the cutest cat. She's the cutest cat in collecting, maybe. She's definitely the cutest cat in Australian collecting. So I can understand, as I say, Shuri is the star of this channel. So I probably need to get another member video of Shuri. I'll think of something I can do with her. She's so cute. Mike says, I'm a clone collector, not a Stormtrooper collector, but I have to ask, do goggles help since the helmet already has a visor to protect your face? Seems like a weird accessory. It's fashion, Mike, and fashion doesn't have to make sense. Fashion doesn't have to make sense. Doesn't have to make sense. Let TK Maxx express himself through fashion. It's 2026. Let's be accepting. Hands off my Grogu. I mean, as I say, if you're going to put Grogu in a satchel, you're going to have a bad time because people are going to want to touch your Grogu with the bag. Okay. I've seen that. I just spent the last few minutes skipping back to see what I missed. My J&D Joker arrived yesterday. Haven't opened it yet. Very scared. Look, please read Batman Collectibles' post on Instagram about the magnetic eyes and what happened to him, because that was a tragedy. It's a collecting tragedy. So definitely be careful with the silicone and the Joker head sculpt, because as we've seen, a bad time can be had, which no one wants. No one wants that. I'm assuming no one wants this Stormtrooper as well, which is fine. But, you know, let's just let him have his passion for fashion, express himself through whatever accessories he deems necessary. It's fine. It's fine. You do you, and TK does TK. It is what it is. I just hope he's not running up some kind of credit card debt because of all of his fashion purchases. But, you know, that's his problem. I ain't moving them eyes. Yeah, I mean, as I was saying, figure it out. Like, I feel like lately I've been seeing a lot of videos of Snape, the in-art Snape, and people using the magnetic eye pen and that looking really amazing. But the J&D is a problem in and of itself. Oh, goodness. Bob just sent me a bunch of photos. Let me see if I can. Can we get over Star Wars already? I mean, I've been asking that for a long time. Let me quickly just share this, if that's okay. Share screen. Circling back to the you guys, I don't know if that's working. Is it working? Is it not working? That's back to me. Why are you not doing what I want you to do? Here we go. So this was the figure that Bob mentioned from 2014, the Al Pacino figure. And look at that skeleton. Like, that is a big difference to what they're doing with the Joker. So hence why you're not having those issues like we are having here. So that's a big difference. Structurally, that is a huge difference. Yeah, I mean, and this head sculpt looks phenomenal. Like, that looks incredible. That's silicone. It looks really good. But we can see here this skeleton. That's a big difference. Like, there's so much more of that rigid surface for the silicone to sit on, like Bob said. So you're not losing the detail. You're not having some of these problems. So, Bob, thank you for sending these pictures. It's really interesting to see the difference. And this was a figure that Kojun did in 2014. So I don't understand why they've gone away from this. For the rooted hair, I would take sculpted hair and manually adjustable eyes and not have the risk of losing a chunk of the head sculpt. But maybe that's just me. Maybe that's just me. Oh, I'm back. Let me get TK back on the screen. He's everybody's favorite Stormtrooper. Mike says, you're not wrong, Helen. Fashion is definitely out there obscuring these troopers' vision, even more so when they can't even hit the broad side of a building. Seems kind of funny. Well, that's what I hear. I hear they're not very good at hitting a target. So Moose has been a member for 5 months. I think Bobby's bankrolled that. Nicest guy acting Dylan. Those photos are just a reminder of why I was so excited for Kojun Works. What they did in the past was so ahead of their time. Isn't that interesting? Because I would have thought that it's interesting. Being part of J&D, would they be better resourced, or would they be more trying to keep the cost down to maximize profits, because I'm looking at that sculpt going, like, you can see there's structure to that compared to that partial sculpt that they ended up using for the Joker. It's a huge difference, and we're talking like 2020 or 2014 versus 2024/25. It's a huge difference. Bob Dylan is my banker. I think he's mine too. Akira's thanking Bob. Nicest guy collecting. Let's move on from the Star Wars, shall we? Yes, we shall. Squid Games. Helen has not seen Squid Games. Fun fact. I have no opposition to Squid Games. I hope to see Squid Games one day. And this is another of those scenarios where I'm quite happy to see Hot Toys branch out into new IPs. So things like Wednesday, Squid Game, I think it's cool to see. How popular they are, I'm not entirely sure. I do think Wednesday is fantastic, and I'll be honest, I did like what I saw of this Squid Games figure. I feel like it has some great accessories. I also really like this outfit. I know it's just a tracksuit, but having that kind of a cloth outfit means posing is unrestricted. And from what I see from the blogger photos, this guy plays a lot of hacky sack. So you can do him in a hacky sack pose if you so desire. I think the head sculpt looks nice. I think the detail on the sculpted hair. I'm constantly impressed with the level of detail they get in the sculpted hair nowadays. This, I don't think we're at this level when I first started collecting. So for me, I do look at these sculpts, and as I say, I probably feel a little bit of comfort in sculpted hair and plastic sculpts. And I look at figures like this and go, I'm fine. I'm happy living in this little bubble. It's a happy place. SJC, thank you. Make your best John Wick figure. Each company needs to make one thing. Hot Toys Inner, J&D, So Toys Tomorrow. That's very kind. Thank you. I'm trying to make my best John Wick 2 figure, which I feel like is going to need another John Wick 1 head sculpt. And I've not decided if I'm just going to try to get that head sculpt loose or get a third John Wick 1. We'll see. We'll see. Thank you for the super chat, SJ said. That's very kind. $5 super chat. I appreciate that. Austin says, my house I trust Hot Toys despite head sculpt being off from time to time. In Art Jazz Inc., the verdict is still out for them. Look, I mean, for me, Jazz Inc., the verdict is very much still out for them not produced an actual articulated figure. In Art, I think, has done some nice figures. I think Snape is phenomenal. I'm not the biggest Hobbit Lord of the Rings fan, but I can certainly appreciate there's some really nice rooted hair going on. Some of those outfits have multiple layers. I just haven't had an in-art figure in hand since that Joker to see what they're like now. So I'm interested to see when the Anne Hathaway Catwoman comes out, what is that like? So as I say, in-art, I've been watching, okay, I feel like while their IPs have a bit of interest to me, have they done some nice looking figures? Yeah, I think they have. Jink is a whole other kettle of fish that I've spoken about many times. I just want to start seeing some production pictures of the Catwoman if we can. That would be amazing. Helen, you haven't seen Squid Games either. High five. We'll add that to movie night, shall we? Hot Toys Collector says, I only saw one episode, not my thing. That's fair enough. So what's up with this? Did this release another announcement? I missed it. So this is a release, Mike. So this was announced last year and has now been released. So I said it's under a year between announcement to production, which I think is pretty good for Hot Toys, given they're still doing such a big volume of figures. So I think getting stuff in a year is, as I say, I'll be happy with that. Winman says, great show, but this is not really a collectible figure. Very collectible figure, in my opinion. I would have liked 2 of the guards and the director first. I have all the Funko figures and was gifted a mask of the director. I mean, and I guess this is the tricky thing. Like, I do like Hot Toys doing different IPs, but I can also understand standalone not appealing to people because I know that's very much not how I'm trying to collect. Unless it was like John Wick where multiple versions of the same figure, and I was happy to have that. And I think it's a bit the same with Wednesday. They announced Wednesday, and a lot of people were talking about, is she going to get, is it like a school friend? Are we going to get other members of the family? Kind of don't think we're getting anyone else from Wednesday. So I can understand that point of view. As I said, I do like them doing stuff that is a bit different and not necessarily superhero-y. As I said, things like this get announced, I'm kind of not mad about it. Oh my goodness, Moose Stream, what are you doing? Moose Stream with the 20 super chat, incredibly kind. I can take off the membership going forward. Thank you, my friend. You are the stand-up guy. He is. That's goodness. Everyone's incredibly generous. We'll add it to the Tim Tam Fund. We'll add it to the Tim Tam Fund because we will do another Tim Tam giveaway at some point. Andreas, who won the first Tim Tam giveaway, was having lots of fun with the Tim Tam slams, is my understanding. So I've been able to convert another person to the way of Tim Tam. So we'll do another Tim Tam. This will all go towards the Tim Tam Fund, I promise. Question, Helen, once you complete your John Wick figure collection, what's for you that you really want to tackle? No. So I feel like my thing is my Batman 89 to 97 line. And then building out that world of John Wick. I feel like working out my space more than what other lines next are probably the biggest thing. I know there's people talking about Doomsday, and are you going to, like, I don't know. I necessarily want to launch in a lot of new or big lines. I want my collect to have, I guess, a bit of longevity as far as movies and my fandom of the thing. And with something like John Wick, we're looking for Wick movies, Ballerina, those are movies that I love and have loved for a long time. So yeah, I feel like building out the Wick collection and then the space, having the space, the collection is kind of a little bit here. The diorama, the Osaka Continental diorama is packed away, which does make me quite sad. I wish I had the display. I love it. And then working it out, because at some stage that Jazz Inc. Batwing, the 12th scale one, is home. So I need to get my skates on and work out what's happening with this room. Benny's here. Hello. Sorry I'm late to the room. Has Helen talked about the TK Stormtrooper yet? I sure did. I talked about it before Squid Games. You're gonna have to rewind. I don't know if you can rewind on a live stream, but maybe catch the replay. How long ago was that? Maybe 10 minutes ago, I want to say. Maybe not, but yeah. But we did it. Star Wars in 60 seconds. It's my commitment to you. Speaking of Catwoman, is she still set to be released in the first quarter of this year? The Jazz Inc. one? No. So the last comments I saw in the Jazz Inc. group. So the last stream I had seen Yoast reference some might be released quarter one, the bulk would be quarter two. I did then see comments in his group which said May. So May, that's mid quarter two. Whether that's still a handful of people getting it and then the rest of us getting it later, I don't know. We're in mid-January and I have not seen a painted head sculpt. We've seen a little bit of footage of the suit material. So it's nice to get a look at that. But, you think of the different SKUs. There's diorama backdrops. There's, I think it's 6 different head sculpts need to produce. There's accessories. There's a lot more to come. So, yeah, I'm going, we're going to enter Chinese New Year in a month. So that's going to put things to a halt. May's what they're saying, but I don't know. Will I get it in May? I'm not going to hold my breath for it. I read that one already. I'm behind. Winman says, Also, I'm not sure 280 for a guy in a tracksuit is a great business decision, maybe at 95, but perhaps the Asian market snaps this up. Maybe. This guy's probably $500 in Australia. So I wish 280. That's the dream. Austin really wants no more Star Wars. It's okay. We did Star Wars. We've moved on with life. Not sure if you heard, but Inart is releasing a 2.0 Joker because they said they want to show their evolution since the first one. So there was some chatter about Inart and the Joker, but I thought the conversation was around likeness rights expiring and kind of being told if things weren't in some kind of development by a certain date, rights would expire. Whether that's a purple coat or joining the bandwagon of bank robber, I'm not entirely sure. So I'm not sure if that's confirmed or not. I would. There's so many great characters in the Dark Knight trilogy, and you know, Heath is a Perth boy. I'm a Perth girl. I'll always have love for him, but I'm like, let's give some love to some other characters. That would be amazing. SJC says same thing. They're considering it. I thought that was the main issue. I thought it was around the rights to the likeness expiring unless you had something in development. And I did kind of wonder, is that why Hot Toys is doing another bank robber Joker? Because again, that kicks that can down the street. But if they don't want to do a nurse to police Joker, I think a police Joker would be amazing. I'd love to see Hot Toys do an updated police Joker. As much as I think the original one still looked really great, I would love to see them do an updated police Joker. I think that would be amazing. Speaking of tracksuits, how cool would it be to have, or to mod this guy as one of the tracksuit mafia to post up with Kate Bishop and Hawkeye? Oh, wait, they didn't give us Hawkeye. You've still got Kate. You have Yelena. Yelena and Kate's a great combo. Oh my god. What's the company called? What's the moving company called? Like Help a Bro or something. It's the Tracksuit Mafia. I love it. Austin says Hot Toy Maroon is available on eBay. No, I don't mind waiting. I trust pop culture. I don't really buy things on eBay, if I'm honest. So I'm a patient collector. I can wait for Hot Toys to get it. And I mean, if it's starting to flow in the US, then hopefully it won't be too long till it starts flowing in Australia. But thank you. If Inart is going to 2.0 their Joker, I really hope they do a live stream and give us a 360 view of the figure on a turntable. What could go wrong? What could go wrong, did you say? Why is my not scrolling? What could go wrong?
So the earlier whoa.
What could go wrong? What could go wrong? I don't know. What could go wrong? It was called Trust a Bro. Trust a Bro. That's right. Trust a Bro. I actually enjoyed that series a lot more than I thought I would. This figure will end up in the bargain bin. The show is good, but no one will buy this. Look, it's quite possible. It is quite possible. It is very possible. But as I say, to me, nice looking figure, not one for me. Poor Arnold. I know. Poor lady trying to host that in-art stream. She was set up to fail. I felt so bad for that girl when the Terminator went down. We all did. And even just her not having the information she needed to answer people's questions, that stream was just... And they did it twice. Why would you stream twice? So glad you picked up what I was putting down there, Helen. I was hoping you had that clip ready in the queue. Yeah, no, I have it saved. Because now I've got the fancy StreamYard. I can upload clips. And that's saved forever. How many times I play it? I don't know, but I feel like I'm getting my my money's worth out of clipping that. Squid Games. I think you guys are probably as into Squid Games as I am, given the way the conversation has grown. But as I say, like, I do like the fact that, as I say, it's posable. It looks like they've factored in the shoe and the tracksuit. I'm noticing a ugly ankle joint like figures like Tonto had in the past. That's nice that that's been factored in. I think even some of the Wonder Woman statues have had some ankle pegs that people rather not have seen. So you can do a bit with this, guys. As I say, it comes with quite a few accessories. So while I think third party is what's available as far as companion pieces, you can still build out a little display with all of his accessories. You can never play that clip too much. I like to think so, but then I'm sure at some stage someone will have it before. I need to see the Homer and the Hedge clip. I need to find a clip of that because this is obviously my signature clip, my favorite GIF, the one I need. So I need to get a clip of that to add in because I feel like it's very important. Maybe I could make a little Shuri related clip as well. A little Shuri. SJC says would hope for different Netflix figures like Stranger Things. I think 3-0 got the license for them, did they not? They did some of the kids and I think they did the Demi Gorgon. Did they do Hopper? Can't remember if they did Hopper, but they did the kids. Is it 3-0, right? It's not Star Race. I'm getting my companies mixed up. But they're out there. I think we've all seen Hot Toys, not the biggest maker of figures of kids. So I don't know that they would do the earlier seasons now that they're a bit more grown up. I don't know. I feel like if they were going to do it, would you not do it before the series kind of ended? Because that's always the risk. And even back to 3-0, I remember when like Game of Thrones was wrapping up, they were doing all these polls in their Facebook page about Game of Thrones figures and what characters would like to see, and they were like alluding to, yeah, we're going to do a Robb Stark, we're going to do Mountain, we're going to do all these figures, and then like nothing came of it. So I think if a show's over, unless it's something that's classic and timeless and that takes time to earn that status, if a show's over, I think it's a bit hard to get figures. 3-0 worth it, they deserve better. I think Game of Thrones deserved better than 3-0 as well. I'll be honest with you there. I had a couple of those Game of Thrones figures and the Arya Stark with the combo-rooted sculpted hair. The Jon Snow, I had to get a replacement head sculpt for, and tailoring was otherwise nice, but as I said, the sculpts were not great, which is like one of the biggest part of the figure, right? The sculpt's not there. It's hard to make it sellable, I think. I agree 3-0 could use some help with some of their licenses, but they kill it with their Transformer figures. Yeah, I mean, the Transformers look good. They do. But yeah, the as I say, the Game of Thrones figures, like some of those Daenerys figures that they did were like not great. Ned was not amazing, but I didn't mind the Ned. I had Ned, Season 8 Jon, and Season 8 Arya Stark. But yeah, some of the Daenerys figures, I don't think the Cersei was particularly good either. The Sansa was, I'd say, rough. And then the Jaime they did had one of those ugly seams in the hair, which again, I'm not a fan of. Tiny Art Guy is here. Hi, Helen. Hope you're keeping well. Happy weekend. I am well. Happy weekend to you too. I think you most of the weekend in the UK, would you not? Lovely to see you in the chat. Squid Game guy, let me know if you're picking up. It doesn't sound like people live in the chat are. So if you're watching the replay, let me know. Are you getting it? Are you hyped for it? How do you feel this turned out? It was interesting. We didn't even have that wide an array of blog of pictures. So I do kind of wonder for something like this, if it's a long production run or they think it's a less popular figure, do they send it to less bloggers to photograph? I'd kind of like to know, do the blogs get everything, or do they get to opt in to, yeah, I'll do the Squid Games guy. Oh, no, I don't want him. I want that one. I'd love to know. As I say, very poseable in the tracksuit. He loves a bit of, I don't know, is it hacky sack? I don't know what that blue thing is. But as I say, I think you'll get some nice poses out of this if you get it. Something different in the display. Something different in the display. SJC says, a good problem to have Game of Thrones. They have so many costumes, which do you do first? Well, I mean, this is the thing. I think they did quite a bit of a time jump. So they did the very early season. I think Daenerys, they did like a season 5 and then very late figures. But yeah, and it's hard. There was a lot of characters. So I think unless you were really turning them out quite consistently, and I mean, Game of Thrones, you probably had the benefit that there was often gap between those seasons. I think they just left it too late to really jump on and produce a more extensive line. I have to think in the early days you'd have people like Ned, which they made, but I think Robb Stark would have had some interest. I think an early season or early series Jamie. Various, I don't know, but Khal Drogo, like that's a missed opportunity. A lot of people like Jason Momoa. I think a third-party company did Khal Drogo, if I'm right. If I'm wrong, please correct me. There were some good characters in those early seasons that, yeah, they didn't make figures of, which is a shame. Mike says, my goal with collecting was only to collect Hot Toys, but 3-0 broke the streak when they released that Optimus Prime. I love Transformers as a kid, so I couldn't skip that one. Nostalgia gets us, right? Nostalgia always gets us. This looked like a good figure, good likeness and tethering, but I wouldn't buy it. Yeah, I'm with you, Anthony. I think that's probably a good summary of the Squid Games. Austin says, I will say this, I would want a 2-point Bruce figure. I mean, I think InArt's talked about doing Bruce Lee, have they not? It'll be interesting to see how they go if they did it. If the American Squid Game is popular, this could be a sought-out figure in the future. Oh, there's an American version of Squid Games coming out. Interesting. Did not know that. Did not know that. So to round things out, shout out to the shop, does these great updates in the group. Because we didn't have a lot of newsy news, I thought I would just post his latest update because, of course, we had Squid Game figure was released. The Batman figure was announced last week. TK Stormtrooper was announced. So, as I mentioned, less than a year from announcement to release for the Squid Games figure, which I think is a really good turnaround from Hot Toys. We currently have 103 open releases. 98 of those are expected this year. And it's interesting to see this breakdown. 23 Marvel, 26 Star Wars, 49 DC others. So you know what? For 49 DC others, and Windman, this is not a kettle or bacon. I'm happy to see DC others get some love. Happy to see DC others get some love. So 5 already have a 2007 release date. 2007, I'm still trying to wrap my head around the fact it's 2026, but oh, did I say 2007? 2027, my God. I've lost 20 years. So yeah, things having a 2027 release date freaking out. But yeah, I mean, 2026, I think we've got Ballerina and John Wick and a few other things that I'm quite interested in. So open releases includes Q4 2025 or earlier. So Jurgen does great breakdowns of the figures, the releases, the stats, where they're at. But I thought this little summary is interesting. So overdue is the Artisan Harley Quinn from the Suicide Squad, which is interesting. That did have a Q4 2025 release. So is that one we'll see before Chinese New Year? I don't know. It will be interesting to see. I have to think we're going to get at least one heavy hitter before Chinese New Year. I'm hoping it's the Artisan Winter Soldier. because I have that on pre-order. But hey, if it was Harley, I'm quite interested to see how that turned out. So if you want to see all the different charts stuff that Jurgen's done, he posts that in Collector's Base. I'm sure he posts that in a lot of other groups. I'm not necessarily promoting Collector Base, just to make that clear. I just saw this. I saw the post in that group and I took the screenshot because it was like, oh, cool, Jurgen's posted the thing. And this is just the updated picture of what is slated to be coming out. Some really cool stuff. We kind of talked about these a bit more last week. We've got some Hono figures. It's been really quiet on the Hono front. So I really don't know if Hono has gone the way Hot Toys expected. Are we going to see more from it? As I say, I kind of consider it like budget Disney, given what they've announced and showed us. So I really don't know what, if anything, to expect from Hono this year. As always, some Star Wars figures. We've got Cap and Bucky, which I'm looking forward to. Keen to see what Human Torch looks like. What does that final head sculpt look like? We've also got Nice Paul and Blade. Red Hulk, that's another one I think people will be interested in. Chris and George and Mr. Freeze. I'm interested in those. A bunch of Kamen Riders. Moon Knight's another one. I am interested to see how they go with that Moon Knight figure, particularly being an artisan with shorter hair. From what I saw, the hair on the Iron Spider looked pretty good. I don't know how much that's gotten into people's hands as yet, but I haven't heard, touch wood, of people having issue with the hair on that one. I know Cousin Anthony has his Iron Spider and he hasn't mentioned any issues with the hair, so I'm hoping Hot Toys has turned a corner with the rooted hair issues with the artisan line. Windman says, yes, Inna is supposed to be doing Bruce Lee in 12th and 6th scale. There we go. I think I read that one before. Next time, can you compare? Oh, I forgot about this. Inna, MJ to Damn Toys. MJ both look great. Damn Toys jukebox is USB. I saw Figure Hideout had a video about that, and apologies, I totally forgot. I'm going to make a note because if it's a slow news week, we'll do it. My struggle is I can't get excited about Michael Jackson figures. I know he's a huge artist. There's a lot of love for him. Did he, didn't he? I don't know. It's not a figure I get excited for, but if we have a slow news week, SJC, we will look at that. And as I said, I totally forgot about it. I think because that was on Instagram and I normally curate my list from Facebook. So my apologies. We could have talked about that. But that's okay. We'll wrap up soon because Helen needs some sleep. Blue Tattoosi. Hey, everyone. Hello, Blue. How are you? Happy Friday. Mike says, sorry, Helen, but that Harley that was mentioned, is that the one in the red bodysuit from Gunn's version of Suicide Squad? I don't remember that one racing. Yes, that's the one that's overdue. So the artisan Harley from the Suicide Squad in the sort of comic-inspired look, that was meant to release in Q4 last year. So that's the one where in Jurgen's post here where he says 14 days too late, Harley Quinn, the artisan edition, 471 days between announcement and release. I can't believe it's been that long. 471 days. Wow. I think, was that before I was doing this stream? Possibly. Who knows? But yeah, it's this one you see in the top right corner next to Cap. Historian Artwork says that artisan Harley was tricky. The photos made the molded figure have a better likeness. She may be delayed. I think that's the Suicide Squad one, but I agree with you. I felt like the sculpted hair looked better than the rooted hair on that one. I'm not sure when that's due for release, but the one that's delayed or that's late by 14 days is the Suicide Squad one, not the Suicide Squad, the Suicide Squad. So no, it's the Suicide Squad that we're waiting for. Austin says, also, I was watching on the Hot Toy channel their 25th anniversary. I didn't know that Kevin Feige is a serious Hot Toy collector and Oscar Isaac, aka Moon Knight. I know. Isn't Doesn't Drake also have Hot Toys or 6-scale figures? I'm pretty sure that was discussed at one point. Ace says, looking forward to Cap, Blade, and Winter Soldier. Not so much other releases. I'm still skeptical about Artisan due to the hair issues reported from collectors. Yeah, I understandably so. Ace, I did a video about improvements I think Hot Toys needs to make to the Artisan line, and I definitely think the QC issues with the rooted hair is a big one. I have the Black Widow, and I'm very fortunate that the hair on that is good. I can't really think of people reporting big issues with the Black Widow or any issues, to be honest. I don't know if I just haven't seen them. But that is something that concerns me with Bucky. And I've said a few times, if there was a sculpted version I could get, I would have 100% gone down that route. But I wanted the updated Steve, and to have an updated Steve and not an updated Bucky was something I didn't want. So when I was able to get the Artisan Bucky, I then pre-ordered Steve. But it does frustrate me for such a big character like Bucky, an important character, that there wasn't a standard sculpted release to go with it. I'm not a fan. But like something like that, like if it's something a bit more niche, I don't mind if it's limited, but something like this, I can't imagine there wasn't a lot of people who wouldn't want a 2.0 Bucky, particularly given this one's going to have genuine leather and also the chrome arm being swap out molded arms rather than the articulated arms, which does stick, and I get concerned about whenever I move mine. So yeah, I can't think that wouldn't have been something that sold well. Mike says, I don't even remember that Harley having the Artisan treatment. To confirming, I mean, they only did Artisan for that look of Harley. That was another thing that frustrated me. I've wanted a Margot Harley for a long time. I wanted this look. I wanted the more comic jumpsuit look. And they've done it as Artisan only. So that's another one where I wish, and I have to think, given they've made Peacemaker, they've made King Shark, we've had a lot of third-party companies tackle other members of the Suicide Squad. It's another one that I think would have had a lot of people interested if there was a standard release to go in it. So I get a bit frustrated when they do that with important characters. Dr. No is here. Hi, Helen Shuri. I'm a little late. We'll catch you up on the replay. Take care. Thank you for coming into the chat, Dr. No. I hope you're doing well. I know you're busy doing important things. Little Shuri has been very absent, which is upsetting because it's our Shuriversary. I met Shuri 4 years ago today, fun fact. My little munchkin. She came in for like a nanosecond and it's off. I honestly think it's actually cooler outside than in the house, so I do not blame her. She's probably outside catching some lovely breeze. I can't blame her. Hot Toys just has better sculpted hair with a few exceptions, Black Widow. And I lost my excitement for the Artisan hair once I realized it's a glorified toupee instead of actually rooting the hair. I mean, I think InArts is a glorified toupee as well. I think they seem to do a better job of it. But I'm still of that view that if they're sculpted, I'd probably go down that track. And it's funny, I feel like the John Wick Chapter 1 is the first time I've had the choice where I've really felt divided. Yeah, I really struggled, and I've got one of each coming, so we'll see. We'll see how that goes for me. Austin says, I'd love a 2.0 of the 2012 Avengers Nick Fury and Thor. Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of people would love some 2.0s of the original Avengers. I think Thor, I don't think the look of it is bad. Like, that's how he looks in the movie, but I do think the body is showing some signs of age. I have mine in a flight stand because the ankles are incredibly weak. Black Widow from Avengers 1 is one that I would love to see redone. And as much as I still think Hawkeye looks good, like having the single jointed elbows does limit posing, which is a shame. And I'm sure you could give us a nice swap out, either pre-posed or silicone arms. Silicone, topic of the day, tell your friends. Yeah, and I think Nick Fury's a figure they haven't made in a long time, and there's a part of me that would not have been surprised if they made a Nick Fury from the Marvels and nothing else. So the fact they have had opportunities to do new Nick Furies and haven't does kind of surprise me. Does surprise me. Even if they wanted to 2.0 the one from Winter Soldier, because I feel like, I know for me, Winter Soldier is my favorite Marvel movie. I think it is for a lot of people. I don't think people would be mad if they continue the 2.0s for the Captain America Winter Soldier. Dream and Visions is here dropping me a bat. Well, I don't know what noise a bat makes, but hello, happy Friday. Almost Saturday for me. I never looked into InArt's hair application. Is it really just glued onto? Hot Toys needs to take better notes because there's no glue issues or anything like that to give it away. That's my understanding. I don't think they're sewing or inserting it that way. I think that's what J&D has done, but my understanding is that InArt is the same method. They're obviously just executing it a lot better. And part of me wonders if that's the difference between Hot Toys is obviously mass producing, whereas InArt is doing the batch system. And it sounds like it's a bit more hands-on because InArt in some of their streams has talked about bringing more people on board and training them to do the rooted hair. So I don't know if that's something they do in-house, more by hand, or is Hot Toys doing it more in factories on a sort of bigger mass-produced scale? That's what I have to wonder. So, I mean, I think most people could live with batches if it meant we don't have these issues. I'd have a problem with that. We'll see. Austin says, when you get your Batman Returns figure, you're going to love it. I know I will. I've seen it in Hong Kong. I've seen it with my eyes. I have admired it. I just need to wait for it to get to Australia, which hopefully won't be long because I don't know what else I'm otherwise getting anytime soon. Guys, we've almost gone for 2 hours. I think it's pretty impressive given there was next to no news. I've sunk down in my chair. Hello. So I am going to wrap it up. Thank you for coming to hang out with me on Friday. Wow, I've really sunken down in this chair. My goodness, I feel like a midget. I mean, I am a midget, but I'm not that short. Actually, I am. So as I said, I'm going to wrap it up. Thank you for coming to hang out. We'll be back next Friday, hopefully with news. If not, we'll definitely talk about the Michael Jackson if it's a slow news week. We'll do some audience participation questions. Keeping Fridays alive. Maybe there'll be another trooper. Wouldn't that be a treat to have? Is it a third trooper already? A trooper a week. Let's do it. Maybe this will be the year of Neon Tech BB-8. Who knows? I don't know. On Mike's this out. Well, we didn't talk about Tim Tams, just saying. Well, I mean, we can talk about maybe if it's a slow news week, I can do about hot cross buns. That was fun last week. But no, we'll be back next week. Great conversation. Have a good weekend. You too, Austin, to come hang out. Valkyrie Magnus, have a great weekend. Helen, you too. Thank you for being here. Mike, thanks as always for the stream. Helen, have a great weekend. Thank you for being here. Thanks, great stream as usual. Hit the like button. Hit the like button, guys. It's free. It helps more people find Star Wars in 60 seconds. And really, that's what we should be all aiming to do. Spread the word of Star Wars in 60 seconds. It is the best Star Wars commentary you're ever going to hear. Miss Batwoman says, thanks for a fun have a nice weekend. I'm sorry you didn't see more of little Shuri. My little Shuri is an enigma wrapped in a riddle. I can't, but I'll try to get a Shuri clip I can then play on the stream. Thanks, Helen. Great stream. Have a great weekend. Historian Artwork, thank you for commenting and coming out of the shadows. It gives me hope that these names that crop up as channel members actually are watching. It's interesting to know, because I say these names crop up and I'm like, do they watch? Do they not watch? Who are these people? How are they selected? But thank you. I appreciate you dropping some comments. Thank you, Helen. Dr. No, thank you for being here, guys. Have a safe and happy weekend. I will see you next Friday. Take care.